All right, we're back, and we're gonna continue coloring our painting here. I have here a layer that is set to color, just that. And I was thinking too, like, oh yeah, we've still got a couple of things here. Like this part needs to be colored a little bit. Anything that would be getting some light from below, I guess, you know? Uh, and we could have a nice little gradient here too as well. Cool. Um, let's see. I might find like a little, I don't know what metal looks like in this world, but I guess that's a little bit like rusty, but put a little bit of brown there maybe. And then maybe a little bit so that there's a two-tone thing here. That might be kind of fun. Just trying to figure out like how do I make him not so monotone, right? Yeah, maybe the abs are a little bit more brownish. And let's see. Let's tone down some of this saturation here. Cool. Cool, cool. Kind of like that. Okay, now let's move on to our female character. I noticed there's a character with purple skin here. I kind of like that, so I'm going to use that as a guide. So first I'll paint in under overlay, and then I'll paint in as a color layer to override it. On the overlay, let's pick that sort of pinkish color right there. This will be a start. Just whatever would be considered, say, her skin color. Right there, right? And also this collarbone area. And over here, she doesn't, at least not at in this picture, she doesn't have cyborg arms. I've portrayed her with cyborg arms in other images, though. Maybe it happens later on. She has an accident, I don't know. And then the hair, I think I want this more of a purpley color. It's it's fine to have a little bit of that blue underpainting poke through in this instance. It does in some ways make it feel more complex in terms of the color scheme as well, you know, because she is being lit by, say, a bluish light. So it's not going to be 100% purple. It'll have remnants of this bluish color poke through. And I remember her jacket was also dark purple, like her. This is based off of my original character, so I'm already very used to painting this character. That's why you're seeing me going like, I think it's this, because it's like, yeah, I've done it before. Good. And the gloves as well. Now, the pants, however, I usually have the pants as a darker color, so maybe let's try like a bluish. Who knows? Just make it not exactly the same as the jacket. A little less red in it, you know? It's more towards blue, so it's more like a lavender, like that. And we'll have elements of that poke through, say on the boots as well. Very simple color scheme overall, right? And then, let's see. Oh, I missed a couple of skin areas. She's got ripped jeans, which means her knees, uh, right here, are all kind of skin color as well. That's cool. Her shirt is white, so I'm gonna choose that color maybe, or choose that color. Yeah, this is gonna represent white in our nighttime world, right? Like that. Maybe her belt-ish. There's elements like that could also have whitish bits in there. Cool. And her eyes would also have elements of this white. The reflection on the, like from the ground here, this thing, that'll probably be prominent. Let's just pick that. Let's see what happens. Yeah. As you could see, like right now, I just want to, I think eventually what I'll do is I'll come back and soften these features and kind of blend them together. But for now, these are a decent amount of lay-ins, I think. Gonna choose that purple color. Come in where I want it to get a little darker, I think. Yeah, it's tough. You don't want her to look like she's got a mustache either. So we gotta fix parts of that on the lighting. And yeah, I mean overall that's a decent lay-in for it to start with, I think. I'm wondering if eventually I'm just gonna color my line work as well, just to make the line work disappear, you know. Couple things that bug me, I think, are the shirt. I'm gonna select that, hide, Control H, Control U brings this up. I just want an experiment to see if there's any other, like that might be a little better, I think. Yeah, that's probably better. Oh, missed a spot. I remembered that she has a bare midriff. Wait, why is this Control D? Ah, here we go. Yep, she has her belly showing. So there we go. That's more like her character. Kind of fun to have that. Let's see. I might come back and include some of this blue color again. Yeah, just so that we're picking up some of this stuff. Like this. This color just represents magic right now, so where I can, I'm gonna inject it. Yeah, a little bit on the areas that are facing down. I think that helps bring it out. Hopefully it doesn't look like a beard. It's tough. It's tough. hmm Just painting this back in. I don't know. Maybe this part should be. I'm just wondering if I should have areas where that blue really, without actually having blue light on a model, sometimes it's a little bit hard. I have to just kind of guesstimate how this blue will affect this three-dimensional form. I'm sure many of you have faced that challenge as well. So you're not alone. I'm guessing too. Except I guess maybe I have more experience, so got a little better. I'm a little better at the guess. I kind of like this blend right here. Kind of this like it's both painterly and not so, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I kind of like doing that. It's almost like I am a bold decision maker with my brushstrokes, when in fact you saw exactly how I arrived at it. I was like, dipping my toes in the water, I don't know. But this way it feels almost like, oh, he really was very confident. So you actually work hard at making a piece look confident, even when you're not confident. Kind of like that. I like how it kind of looks like she's staring into a glowing pool of water right here, right? So there's aspects of this that we should keep. Kind of like that. Cool. That's magical-ish, right? Let's see. I have this one layer that's effects particles. I think I could just colorize that. Just go to Control U, brings up this menu. I hit colorize and just darken it a little bit and up that saturation a lot. And I can basically add color to that, you know? Yeah, see, like that. That way it actually has a little something something. I could duplicate it too. Yeah, see, then it looks like brush strokes. So something in between. Yeah. So sometimes you can get lucky where like a whole layer of stuff, like this glow effect, we could probably add a color to it. I don't know. Kind of like that. I'm wondering if the colors I gave to this guy are a little much. I'm wondering if I should like lower the, yeah, I gave him too much of that, you know, that orangey color. I'm just gonna lower the opacity a little bit so that more of that blue shines through, I think. Somewhere like that. There's a little bit there, but not 100%. I kind of like how muted her colors are there as well. I know it's not exactly like this orc right here. I can always come back later and paint that in, but I think for now this is good. Again, I'm not as confident with my color as, you know, you might think. Let's see here. Let's take a look at elements that this artist has put in that we could also put into our thing. Maybe some cool logos that are kind of sci-fi-ish might be kind of fun. And then maybe additional buildings in the back there. You know, you're like, but didn't we have enough? Yeah, we had a good amount. Here, I'll show you how I can do this. I'm just going to select that and hit Control Shift C, Control V, and that just cuts it out. But you can see her arms in there, right? So I want to get rid of that. I believe there's this. Yeah, there's this thing. I think it's Patch Tool. Let me see. You select this, right? Show you how to use the patch. Wait. Oh, wait. Do I select outside? Yeah, I think I select here. And then I bring it in here, maybe? Yeah. And you know, it'll give me something in between. I remember there was another one called Spot Healing Brush. It also did something similar. I think you have to pick a spot first. Wait, okay, so this is the part. Oh, I guess you just paint over it, paints it out. Okay, there we go. Spot healing brush tool, easier to use. So then what I can do is shrink this down because these buildings would be further away. And I probably want to flip it so that it doesn't look exactly like that other building. But yeah, now we can put some additional buildings in the background there. And I would put it behind my gray layer for the cyborg, right? This gray silhouette shape. And so now I can move this all along here, right? And because it's further away, maybe the saturation's down and it's a little lighter. Okay. Like you kind of want it to fade-ish. And I'm just going to duplicate that, make it super tall. I'm just going to duplicate that, shrink another one. Hopefully people won't suspect. So that I can cut along here, over here. They could also be a cut. Maybe here I'll go vertical first, like that. Okay. But you could see I'm now building a whole city here, right? Control J, and I'm gonna transform and flip horizontal. Put it here. Put it, make it small. Somewhere over there. Right. I'm just gonna merge these two. We could move it around. That's a good spot for it. And now I'm just gonna grab elements of this again. Hit Control J. Move that over here. And this one we can maybe squish flat. Like that. I don't know. Just gonna I'm just making more shapes in the back, basically, right? Now this is overlapping this a little bit, so I gotta fix that. I gotta cut it out so that this big building looks like it's in front, right? But yeah, you can always just grab another chunk, hit Control J, stuff it in back there somewhere. See how that works? It's pretty fun, right? And now I'm gonna do a clipping mask. And I'm going to come back and select these. I'm just going to paint in sort of a pseudo's rim light side plane to it. You know, let's see, maybe something like that. So we can distinguish there's a difference between, so that all these buildings aren't on the same spot, same plane, you know. So like maybe, I don't know, something might work. Put that here, a little bit here, so that we have more buildings in the back other than just our initial batch here. Can always come back, cut into it, you know. Sometimes they'll do like a funny thing in a building too. They'll make like a circle cut out in there for no reason. It's kind of fun, right? Well, then you're like, what happens? Well, then you can take some light on the inside here. It lets the wind through. I don't know. Yeah, it lets the wind in. Something like that. Also feels kind of cyberpunk. Yeah, it's all a bunch of geometry mashed into one another, right? But yeah, you can do all sorts of interesting things. Like, if we wanted to, we could break this up too, you know, just so it's not so samey throughout. There's some verticals there, and this one is a, definite horizontal bit or. Oh, they have those logos too. So, can make some logos too, you know. Like I had my sigil here. Remember the sigil that I made here? You can make a logo out of these sigil pieces. Yeah, let's go Control J. Gonna make something out of this triangle. Let's see, Control J, and we'll make them cross over one another, I guess. I'm gonna select this, go to my bottom layer, cut into it, maybe, yeah. And then I'll move the selection. So I go to the marquee tool, and I can move the selection without moving the original, right? Bring it here and hit delete. And now I've got, this. I could shrink it. You could do all sorts of funky bits. I don't know. You might be like, what does that look like? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Here, polygonal lasso tool. And I'm just gonna bring it down to there. Almost looks like the Adobe logo, doesn't it? Like Adobe Photoshop. So you got this. Let's see. Let's find one more shape. I could duplicate this guy. Oh, yes, it is. Whatever this. Look at that. Future logo. Triangles are futuristic, you know? Future. Like Squidward. Future. Control J. Move it down here. That kind of completes that corner, I think. Yeah, it's a cool logo. Uh, let's see. Could, oh yeah, sometimes you turn it upside down. That looks more threatening, like a V shape. For some reason, a V shape looks more threatening than an A. There we go. And then set this on overlay as well. Just gonna see that. Having these graphic things in the back immediately, I don't know, makes it feel like there's a backstory and a history to all this. Isn't that weird? Here, we'll just make a selection out of here, hit Control J. Let's see. We'll put this over here, but we'll flip it upside down or to rotate 180. It'll be different. Change the color. Let's see. Set it on hard light instead. What? Ah, it's cool, right? Come on. How cool is that, right? Here we'll turn it into something entirely different. There we go. Now it looks like some, made up writing. Right, so there's a cool logo there. Maybe something else in the background. Let's hit Control J, flip it, rotate this like 90 counterclockwise. This is where like you can have like the online conspiracy theorists that are like, they're all owned by the same company. If you just look at their logos, they're an evil cabal. Yeah, evil corporations. I don't know. You just do all sorts of weird things to the geometry of it, make something new out of it. There's some signage back there that we can't barely make out. But because it kind of shares these colors, it is somehow reminiscent. There we go. Wait, not stroke. I want to rotate it counterclockwise. There we go. Something squiggly next to something bold, and then it kind of looks like a logo. It's another corporation. We can change the color. Ooh, green. See? But they're all owned by the same. I don't that kind of idea. But yeah, so cool. I like the I like the I like having these corporate logos on these buildings. That was a good idea from this one artist. Mm, Another cool idea this artist had is blinky reds. You see how there's like little red dots there? That immediately says there's some kind of a technology. So, gonna find like a hard brush. I'm just gonna put some red dots in this image. You're like, you can't see it. Well, you can sort of. Like, it just, for some reason, it just says like there's maybe an antenna back there or something that we're not seeing, and it's creating these little red dots of light. in our world. Makes it feel tech empowered. See that? Isn't that weird? Yeah, this artist uses it all over. So that could work. Let's see. Um, one couple of other things that kind of bug me a little. This part behind my my character, so I have to move back to here. The wall that's back here is just so boring. It's just this rectangle shape. And remember what I was saying about how like the future should be maybe diagonal and triangular? Well, we can add that here. I don't have an explanation for why it's doing this, but we could have something there. Doesn't have to be that color, but it's not bad. It's just a little bit of something, you know? The other problem with this too is like horizontal lines are just so dang boring. I want more diagonals. So Control J, you know, I want more of these type of shapes coming around. Just gonna shrink it like that. Yeah, I want more of these. And you're like, what are they? I don't know. It's something future. So what I can do is I'll just select that and just stretch it out till it gets about there. Hit OK. It doesn't lose pixels when you stretch it out horizontal. It only does that when if you're going diagonal, then you'll see like the pixelation in the end, what they call the anti-alias, aliasing. Yeah, I gotta continue this part here. Does that make it feel like the wall's a little bit more, I don't know, in the future? Cool. And then we can grab that, hit Control J, bring it in other spots. Yeah, it's too too much. Maybe here. And then I'll just erase like that. I don't know, something. And it doesn't all have to be red. It could vary, but here. I just want Kind of reddish, bluish. I don't know. Could be signage, or it could also be, what do you call it? If I set it on overlay, I can go down here to effects and hit bevel and emboss, and it'll give it a little bit of, what do you call it? Make it look like it's inset, you know, like that. And I'm just gonna rotate it so that it's underlit. See over here on the shading, this is like where the direction of the light is hitting, the circle right here. And so it puts a little highlight underneath it if I do that, which makes sense because we've got this, this thing in the foreground that could be lighting it up. And then I don't even have to give it any color. It's just I don't know, some kind of a, like it's just cut in, you know. Yeah, something like that. That could work. Just so that we have something going on. Yeah. And you don't want it to look too busy either, so I might actually lower the opacity of this a little so it's more subtle. Yeah, that's better. Cool. And then I don't know, for the ground here, we could probably grab one of these and make it a logo on the ground as well. Let's take this. It would probably be like around here-ish. Oh, wait, I know. It would go maybe that way. It would have to mimic the perspective. See right here? Perspective. There we go. And instead of red, it could make it yellow. Like almost cautionary lines. Hard light, and then tone it down a little. And then we could erase into it or mask it so that I'll show you. Want some I want like a grainy, rough, grainy, like this or something. Ah, right here, and I want it to be black, right? Wait, why is it showing up? Hold on. No, I don't want that. It's making the mask show up. I hate that. I forget how to get rid of that too. Alright, I'm just gonna erase it then. Dang it, what happened to the mask? I must have hit a hotkey. That's one of those things that bug me all the time. It's It's not the first time this has happened. Oh, it's gone now, I think. Yeah, it's gone now. I don't know. That was weird. So what you can do is use the mask to kind of make this feel like paint that's on the ground, right? High tech. See other things in our background here behind the buildings. What would be really cool is if this sky BG background here had some clouds in it. So I don't know. We could paint some clouds or not red. I'm just gonna just paint whatever that is. That's gonna get lit by some of the city. And you're like, why are you going all grainy with it? Well, it's because I'm gonna blur it. So here, let's go to blur, go to motion blur. Does that feel like a sky now? Sort of like that. Cool. And then I'm gonna fade it, of course. There we go. Cool, cool. All right. I've got most of it down. I think the tentacles could be a different color as well. Maybe we can try that. So let's go back here to overlay. And let's pick a color for the tentacles. Maybe they're also purple because she's purple, right? So let's try to paint the tentacles. Ooh, it's like too perfectly. Let's go to Jamie's brush. Now, it does come across kind of pink there, so maybe change it. Getting attacked by a bunch of pink tentacles, not as scary. But maybe some dark purple. I'm just testing it out on one before I apply it to everything. Yeah, something like that. Dark purple tentacles. And this way, by color coding it like this, we kind of we could tell, like, hey, that thing right there, that's the same tentacle, right? Yeah, like this. And they come from her. It's her friend that she's summoning. And we only get that through the association of the color, I think. That's pretty cool. Over here, we can come back, the layer of color, and just gonna Add more of whatever the cyan color is to the spots where it's getting hit by light, and then more purple in the spots where it's not, right? Let's see. Anything else? I don't know. It'd be cool if there was some semblance of, I don't know, like a water or something as well. That could that could help. Let's try this. I'm just gonna make a new. Don't know if this will work, but just make a new circle, right? And with the circle, I'm just gonna paint freely. Gonna paint like, my idea is I want to paint ripples in a pond. And I guess she gets centered, gets like that. And then we can erase out as well to help clean this up. I'm just making a flat top down of what a ripples in a pond might look like this, right? And let's just make it bright so it stands out. I think I can actually do a blur that's a spiral as well. So let's try that. Radial blur like this. And it can be on a spin instead of a zoom. So see how it looks like it's rotating. And then we can do this. Well, before I do that, let me undo. I'm gonna save it. Make a new layer. I want to save it in case I mess up. Okay. Now, how do we do this? Well, we line up all the corners again, so it's going in perspective. Yeah. Remember that? It's kind of fun, right? I'm wondering if we're getting ripples though. We'll see. Let's see. Yeah, that part feels kind of like a ripple. I'm looking at these two crescent shapes right here. So right now it's just getting brighter. Hard light. Maybe. That could work. And then I'm just going to mask it. Because obviously we wouldn't see the ripples over the top of him. Right there. We get just some swirls, some crescent swirl shapes from it, right? So, maybe Control D. I don't know why everything's getting Huh, that's weird. There we go. Like that. We're at about 55 minutes in here. I think we're getting there for sure. Um, but you can kind of see this painting starting to come around and all that. I think all that's really needed is one final sort of what do you call it? Post-process pass. So I'm gonna set it on overlay yet again, and gonna color pick something from here. I don't know. Maybe this purple. Yeah, let's try that. Purple. And just gonna do a gradation throughout. Well, it looks like a tint. That's cool. Control U and just shift it. Not towards the green because that looks sickly, but towards the blue is pretty good. And towards the purple is pretty good. Yeah, that green is neat, but it's more like Necromancer. So maybe this blue. I kind of like that blue. Definitely. Or purple, blue. Yeah. And then from here, I'm just going to maybe make this area more of this glowy pool thing. Maybe a little bit on her face. A little glow around her face. Oh, I noticed her hands getting covered up by that ripple thing. Nope, it should be under. Cool. But he looks like he's getting swallowed up, which is cool. Um, what I also. Oh, wait. This got moved for some reason. There we go. Yeah, some ish. Let's see. Try that glow around her again. Around here again. Pretty good. And then there should maybe be some kind of a effect coming off of this, right? Just notice like where she's making the mark should be like a, like a maybe sparks are coming off of it. You know what I mean? It's like this should be a big deal where she's you got to make those noises. You gotta see that? I don't know why it took me so long to think of that now, but this is important, right? Like this is the object that is creating the magical portal. There should be a big deal made out of this. That point, right? Yeah, it took me too long to even think about that part. All right, something like that, like sparks of some sort. Let me try out different colors on the sparks. There's that. What if it's purple? What if it's like a little bit more green to it so it doesn't look 100% like the same. Yeah, that's cool. Here, I'll make it a little darker just so I can come back and put a glow on it. And color dodge, linear dodge, hard light, vivid light. Yeah, maybe that. Or normal. And then we just hit Control L and just up the glow. Yeah, it's opaque. That's fine. Da-da! It's pretty cool. I like it. Let's see on this FX particles. Don't like that one. Flat line right there. Wanted it to come off of it like a glow. So it's got a fade. There we go. Yeah, pretty cool. Let's see. Only other things you might want to put a little bit of a might want to put a little bit of a glow. Oh, linear coming from the bottom up and a little bit of a shadow coming from the top down. Yeah. So without it, it looks like this. With it, kind of feels like it's getting hit with some of that light as well. Uh, oh, last minute touches. Sheesh. It never ends, yo. These tiles are gonna get hit with some highlights like that. It gives it a little bit of three-dimensionality. Like the tiles now have a little bit of thickness with that. It's just because it's getting hit with this light like that. A little bit of thickness. Cool. I think we got it mostly. Uh, Last but not least, let's just knock back some of this background stuff so that she and this guy can pop. So I'm going to try it. I don't know if it'll work, but yeah. All right. That's a bit much on the fog, but let's say if it was less saturated, somewhere around there-ish. Okay. Without it, look at all that contrast. With it, gets knocked back. Now I'm focusing on her and this orc. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Uh, it never ends. I always like look at it and then I go like, oh, one more thing. If I want these tentacles to look like they're organic and maybe wet, I need like little wet spot highlights on them. Especially in this is also an instance too here if you're painting stuff like this. Let's say, for example, if you're ever working at a studio and they're like, oh, we don't want you to sign your work. This is where you hide it on the little highlights and stuff, like little abstract squiggle marks like this. You could totally hide it in there. They won't find out until it was too late. And then you could tell all your friends, I hid it. They did that in Universal Studios Orlando. There was a Marvel park where they had all these like comic book artists as art, big billboards up on the in front of the rides, and they told them we don't want you to sign your name on it, so they snuck their names in there. Why not? You made it. You made the art. All right. Anyways, but I'm not enforcing that rule on you, so please do sign your name on the art because it's your art. Brand new layer, and this is 26, and I just want to fade it a little bit so that it's not like you don't want it to be distracting, right? So that's the reason why I would want to lower the opacity on it. Do I put it here or here? Over here, people are going to see it better. Over here, it's more hidden. Hmm, something like right there. It's cool. Okay. Save out, save your piece, and I look forward to seeing your finished paintings. Let me go full screen on this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's well lit, underlit here. Got some buildings in the back that I added. Still got my moon back there and everything. Um, Probably should have painted something on the moon as well. Like oh, I don't know, like you know, I didn't use any photo bashing on this, but I probably could have. Oh, I did mention one thing as far as the line work goes. We could colorize the line work if we wanted to. Interesting, right? Uh, hmm. Well, reserve. Okay, I'm just gonna merge these two here. On the line work, that's a layer unto itself, right? Like that. I could come back here. You could see. Could come back here and do a clipping mask just on my lines. And I can, sorry, this is another step. but it'll be cool, I promise. Okay. So, you see how I've got all this line work here? Well, what you do is you just pick whatever color's next to it, go a little darker, and it'll knock it back enough where, let's see, just one step down from where you had it. And now the it's not so it's not so like in your face anymore. It almost feels like a painting again. And animation does this as well when you see feature animation. But I would say don't do that on your around your pupils and stuff, like your eyes. Keep your eyes pretty dark, I think. Um, it works better, darker. Let's see. Go a little dark here. Bring back some of that. But this part right here, we could just make it kind of brownish. Go a little darker. You'll have to judge for yourself, like, did I make it too light or too dark? And basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to fade the line work enough where it starts looking either like an animation or a painting. Because sometimes having all that black over everything can be too much. So, and if you wanted to, you could even like use some of this line work as a form of rim light. For example, right here, under. Ah, scared me. Uh, you know, like that. It's like a kind of rim light as well. That makes it feel a little bit more painting-esque. Painterly. Yeah, right here, underneath, underneath. Then it fades into line work again, right? Same thing down here. It's like, yeah, maybe some of this stuff becomes more like a rim light. You have to have good judgment here. This is if you make everything look like it could look like neon glow or some photo negative thing. So you got to be careful not to do that. But if you do it just right, it'll actually look good. Let's see. Let's see. Here, shrink it. Yeah, like it's a little rim light there. Just on the outside here. See? Um, like that. Just colorizing your line work. This top part could just be purple. Just softens because it's an illusion anyways. Line we aren't actually outlined. When we draw line work, it's just saying like, oh, this is a point where there's contrast. Like it's a dark thing against a light thing or a light thing against a dark thing. That's all a line really kind of, is an abstract version of portraying that. So I like this a lot actually. Be very delicate around here. Ooh, I can even put a little highlight on her lower lip. That's good. And then this could be more like a purple. That's cool. Her eyes could be more like kind of purplish, just within the line work part of it. Even that could be a little bit like a. It's so weird. I'm like drawing lines within the lines. But it does bring out some of the. Yeah, I might have overdone it. Erase out a little. There we go. There we go. I dig it though. Let's see, purple for all this stuff here. See, like it's a white shirt. Why would there be a black outline around it, right? So what if it's purple instead? It kind of tones it down a little bit. Makes sense. Cool. Oh, that's the this is just on the characters. Huh. So before, before, after. It has more highlights on them. Let me see. What happens if I tone it down slightly? Before, after. It's pretty good. Something like that. I don't know. Feels I might have muddied up some of this too much. So maybe I'll come back and erase out a little bit. Yeah, she doesn't. There's too much beardo going on there. Okay. Okay. See before, after. Okay. See before, after. Questions always, you want to flip back and forth, go, did I make it better or did I make it worse? Some of these lines could do with a little bit of paint over, but then you don't want her face to suddenly turn into mush, you know? So maybe I will just leave this part alone. Cool. Yeah, it's weird how that works. I would have thought that it would have been better, but yeah, she still needs some definition, I think, on her face. Yeah. Alrighty. Cool. There's my piece. All right. Thanks everyone. Stop recording now.